Alright, good morning. So we are here in Colorado, and one of the things I've been dealing with this truck is, as everybody knows, they burn oil. I guess you could say they're burning oil, they're leaking oil, but it's not leaking oil. So it's got to be going probably through the fuel system and going out the pipe, even though I don't see blue smoke or anything. So I don't think I have any issue with seals that I have to worry about. I think it's just the standard issue that these things have with their PCV valve. So let's go ahead and get inside this thing, and I'll show you what I've learned. Now please keep in mind, I'm a very amateur mechanic. Do not take what I say as gold. If this will help save you some time on research, I can tell you what I have learned so far. This is a LQ4 engine. It's 2001. And they tend to put a lot of oil through the PCV into your fuel manifold. So, it's a design flaw. Now, I've looked at oil catch cans, but honestly, in this particular situation, it is not the solution. It's a Band-Aid. And if you're trying to fix the problem is it's using oil. That's the problem. Yes, it goes into your fuel system. That might impact your gas mileage if you're getting enough oil in there to really dilute the fuel. Might. It may not even be noticeable. But we'll find out, right? But really, this is a port injected engine. This is not direct injection. So what that means is any oil that might get into the fuel system and get into the heads is getting washed clean by the gasoline. So any of that contaminants doesn't really get a chance to build up like it would in a direct injection engine. So from a longevity standpoint to the vehicle, I'm not sure that putting a catch can on here is going to really help you. The other thing is, now I'm not saying I won't do it, I'm saying it's not the fix for the problem. The other issue is Iowa can get cold. I don't really think I want to deal with a catch can in the wintertime. It's not something I want to screw with. So I'm kind of avoiding that. I want to just try to fix the problem the correct way. So the first thing we're going to do is this PCV valve is probably ancient. It's really easy to get to. You can just pull it out. I'll try to get to it here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to climb up there. That's the problem with raising the front of this truck. You can't just reach in it anymore. Okay. It's right here. As I fall into the engine bay, drop everything. Pulls out really easy. Try not to drop stuff into your valve cover. There we go. Alright, it makes noise, but as you can see, it's pretty old and filthy. This is the standard PCV valve. And while it makes noise, that doesn't mean it's good. But this is the culprit that's letting a lot of oil into the engine. To fix the issue, all the newer motors have a new valve cover that basically doesn't have a PCV valve anymore. It just uses a fixed orifice. So what I have here is not a PCV valve. It's hollow. That's all it is. But it's a fixed size. It replaces the valve. GM put out a notice that if people are experiencing excessive oil loss, that this is the first thing that they should take care of in their vehicle. And this is back when the vehicle was under warranty. This is GM's warranty solution to this problem. So that's the first thing I'm doing, is putting in this, and it goes in just as easily as the other one came out. So I've got the fixed orifice in place. Now, if you're wondering what you can do, where you can get this, I got this off Amazon. Now, I'm not a fan of Fram, especially their low-end oil filters, but everybody's got their own opinion on that. But regardless of your opinion, it really doesn't matter who makes this, because it's literally just a hollow tube. So I don't think Fram could even screw this one up. So this is a Fram FV410. FV410. That is the replacement to replace the PCV valve with a fixed orifice. So say that 20 times fast. So let's see if it starts. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Did I break it? Seems fine. All right, now to put some oil in. So while we're on the topic, the reason why I'm dealing with this is I just did an oil change on this thing. It's only been about 1,500 miles and the low oil light is already on. I'm down about 1.5 quarts in 1,500 miles. So you could just say 1 quart per 1,000. So that's why I'm attempting this. So I'm going to put some oil in, get it topped back up, and I'm sure people will have the same questions I had about what exactly do those little notches mean, as far as how much oil does each one of them represent. I've read that it's 1/4 quart for each little hole in the dipstick, but we will verify that. And another thing I want to talk about is what's the next step before investing in a catch can. What would be the right way to go with this? This valve cover, if you look it up, it's got this metal plate on the underside of the valve cover. So the idea of this metal plate is to allow for the pressure to go behind the metal plate and then out through the PCV. The issue is they've got like 4 holes that look like they're 1/2 inch in diameter, dead center on this metal plate. So when the oil is spraying up, it's going into those holes, and then they have some weep holes at the bottom of the plate, hoping it'll all drain out. And so what happens is the oil's going into those holes, getting into this baffle, and then getting sucked out the PCV. Now, the new version of the valve cover has 1 hole. It is all the way towards the front of the valve cover. The PVC's at this end. It has the baffle, and then the hole is actually got looks like it has a flange to the left or the right. So in other words, the only way oil is going to get into that hole is if it hits it straight on, and there's only one. So that the pressure that has to come out the engine is going to go all the way to the other end of the baffle. It can still drain out of the weep holes in that baffle, but there's only one hole that allows oil in. That looks like what they've done in this modification. And those valve covers are only like $100 or so for the set. So before you go and invest in a catch can, the right thing to do, if you've got one of these trucks, is change to either just try the orifice to replace the PCV, or when you get the valve cover, it comes with the fixed orifice on it. So you could just get the brand new valve cover with the fixed orifice, with the new metal baffle that's in it that doesn't have the big holes in it. And that should hopefully reduce your oil consumption problems drastically. That's the direction I would recommend. That's the direction I am going. You can follow me through on other videos as we go forward. I'll let you know how this works and whether or not I'll have to be getting the new valve cover. If it ever comes to a point where I have to take all that off anyway, I'm going to just replace them. But for now, as a quick fix, I'm starting with just the fixed orifice to replace the PCV valve. So let's go ahead and put some oil in this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and check the oil. Get this cleaned off. Alright, now let's stick it in there and see where we're at. Alright, hopefully you can see that. It is right around what looks to be, I've read that each one of these is a quarter. So this is full. This top hole here is full. This would be down, and then each one of these is a quarter of a quart. And so then this fourth hole would be down 1 quart. So if you're at this fourth hole, you're down 1 quart. That's what I've read. And then right here, so I'd be about basically a quart and a quarter to a quart and a half is roughly where I'm at the moment. And so that's about where the light came on. So the light comes on roughly when you're just below a quart. We'll just say that. That's when you see your light, you're down a quart. At least on my truck. You probably should check your own to be sure. So I'm going to fill this up, and we're going to go for a drive to out to Escalante Canyon. And then after we get back tomorrow, I'll go ahead and measure after it's set overnight and see where we're at on oil level. All right, so it's set overnight. Let's go ahead and see now that the oil's had a chance to set in the engine overnight after adding the new oil. I basically added a quart and a half. Alright, so yeah, there you can see it. It's easy to see because it got mixed with the good oil. The new oil got mixed with the old oil. But we're right around that hole. You could say that each one of those little dots is a quarter of a quart. So that's how you would read your dipstick, at least on the GMC that has the 6-liter from 2001. I would assume they would keep that pretty much the same with all of the years. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that when the light comes on and says you need to check your oil, it's just below a quart low. So that's a good thing to know. And so yeah, I used roughly a quart and a half to a quart and a quarter for 1,500 miles. So that will let us know where we're at, and I will watch it again now that I've changed this valve and now that it's topped off again. It's pretty well, for all intents and purposes. We'll just say we're right now at 177,000 miles. I think when I pulled back into the driveway last night, it said we were like at 176,980. But just so it's easy to remember, we'll just say 177,000 miles, and we're going to see when that oil light comes on again.